All right, so I did look it up between parts. Arkham Asylum is based off of two particular things. The name comes from H.P. Lovecraft, the town of Arkham, in one of his stories, and the general design and architecture for it comes from a early 20th century insane asylum in Rochester, New York. It was introduced by Dennis O'Neil in the 1970s to the Batman comics lore.
Of course,
yeah.
it's New York.
1970s, so around the time when a place like this wasn't entirely out there. Dramatized, of course, but...
Also easier to keep secrets from the public.
The idea that Arkham Asylum just isn't a very, good institution, even for what it tries to do, is woven into a lot of Batman stories these days, though, because it really isn't.
Well, I mean, that goes back to just how bad a lot of mental institutions were for the longest time, with that they weren't really there to help people. They were more there to just keep people locked up and away from public.
Put them away.
Keep the undesirables out of the public.
Yeah, but, Arkham Asylum in particular is bad in more of a revolving door prison kind of way.
Yeah.
So it's a bit, it's kind of like this Batman deconstructing itself, to be honest. But there was this whole arc of episodes toward the end of the original pre-character design change animated series, where a bunch of villains had their little failed redemption arcs, but at the end of it, there was a story about a prison guard from Arkham Asylum who did not believe in redemption and became a really hardline vigilante on his own. And the story begins with Bruce Wayne taking part in this sort of panel in which the guard was being accused of abusing patients. And he almost gets away with it, but Bruce is a bit of a smart cookie and realizes that something something stinks here. And he, in his airheaded Bruce Wayne persona, says a few choice things that get that get the inmates talking, and it's like Mad Hatter and Harley Quinn, and the kind of unstable inmates who could be provoked into saying something. It's actually kind of a little bit unsettling in what's implied about what they were saying. And
well, I mean, they probably had to do some clever write-arounds given the nature of it being.
The animated series got a bit freer with its dark material when it hit season 4. That's one of the things that I actually like about the later seasons. But
well, if I remember correctly, the animated series initial run, season 1, was primetime television. It wasn't strictly Saturday morning television at first.
It bounced around. When they realized it was getting an older audience, they tried to put it on primetime, but it didn't really take off.
Yeah.
No, because I think it did debut primetime. And then it made the transition over to Saturday morning, or weekday afternoon television for kids, sure. But when it debuted, it was primetime television. Because that was right off the bat of the 89 Batman and Batman Returns.
Might have depended on the market then. Because I don't remember quite. Yeah. I don't quite remember that, but
the thing about the Batman animated series is that it was such an experimental step in animated entertainment at the time that they really didn't know how to optimize it properly for quite a while. They didn't produce the episodes in seasons the way that you would expect them to be produced nowadays.
That was animated in general at the time. You would batch order 60 episodes at a time, and whatever happened.
Yeah, and then they would run those episodes in really awkward orders, which led to some shenanigans involving the first Catwoman story, where the episodes, even though they take place one episode leads into the next episode happening the next day, they verbally say, this is what happens the next day. The first episode that debuted was Cat in the Claw episode 1. And then there's 8 episodes in between that and part 2 in the airing order. And I don't get why, because it ends on a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger picks up literally the next day because there's time pressure. there's time pressure involved in this terrorist attack that they're trying to figure out, but they just throw 8 random episodes in between the two because, you know, the idea of 2-part stories that people would want to follow in a cartoon sense was not normal at the time.
Boop.
It just sounds like a case of mismanagement in that case, because the animated series, season 1 especially, was no stranger to having 2-parters that were back to back. So
it's
the
funny
fact that
because like all the 2-parters are very much things that happen directly after one another, except for the Two-Face story, where part 2 opens up with a recap and then a several months later subtitle. Because there's a lot of time in between Harvey Dent's initial fall and him re-emerging as a crime boss. So if they wanted to have a 2-part episode with a bunch of 1-part episodes in between it, Two-Face would have been the one to do. But for some reason they didn't.
you kind of leave like Harvey's fate up in the air. Keeps you in suspense as other episodes air.
And, you know, there's supposed to be some continuity with Harvey Dent because he appears in a couple other stories, including the Poison Ivy one.
Yeah.
But the episodes are all like in weird orders, so you don't really get that.
Yeah. Well, because the animated series never really had a myth arc, so to speak. Like, you had your 2-parters, but that was pretty much all you're getting. Every other episode could exist in its own like serial continuity.
And you can't rely on the production order to watch the show either, because that was just like that was entirely based on convenience, right?
Yeah.
There's like there's a metric shit ton of Joker episodes early on in the production order because they had Mark Hamill in the studio.
Well, technically they had Tim Curry in the studio first and then Mark Hamill.
Well, basically they had the actor for the Joker in, so they did a lot of Joker episodes all at once.
Well, that's a curious question. Maybe one of you can answer that. But when the animated series was first making the rounds, was it a big deal that Mark Hamill was voicing the Joker?
They didn't advertise it because the studios were worried about, we can't have Luke Skywalker.
That was the problem with Mark Hamill's casting around that time, is that he was typecast really hard. So
yeah, the only reason he got the invitation to audition in the first place was because he was Trickster on the Flash TV show.
They did squeeze in some fun moments with that.
Yeah, which is why he returns to voice Trickster in like the one episode of Justice League he's in.
Ah.
I think Mark's the only person to ever voice Trickster in anything.
Wait, he voiced him in the Justice League cartoon as well?
Yeah, because Trickster's only in
I totally missed that.
Yeah, Trickster's only in like one scene, but that one scene Mark does voice him in.
Yeah, because like I've seen that infamous clip of
space like that.
him in the bar with Flash.
Yeah.
In an enclosed space like that, Batman, just pick up the fucking Joker teeth and snap it in half, dude. Like, why are you still throwing a batarang in a closet?
Yeah, that always was one of the most awkward things in the game.
Yeah, and the only other time I can remember Trickster's been animated was the Mark Hamill specific episode in Justice League Action, which is in and of itself just a giant joke.
This thug is actually built along the lines that I was talking about in part 1, where he kind of like looks like you would expect a thug to look instead of, a Greek god statue.
He's still a Greek god. He has hair on his chest, though.
I need those god genes.
Okay.
I don't like shaving my chest.
Okay, instead of a fucking Michelangelo sculpture, okay? There we go.
Okay, fine.
12-pack abs and all.
Does he have a penis?
Yes, but it's made intentionally small to not draw attention to it. Why are you looking at it?
I like how...
I don't know why. I just immediately thought of the Metal Gear Solid 4 gag where the penis statue just falls off.
I like how the Joker prepared so thoroughly for this takeover that he had someone... He commissioned someone to like design him an Arkham logo with his face in it. That he
Hello, DeviantArt. I'd like a screensaver icon of the Joker. That Matt's a got a killer. I'll pay you in Bitcoin. Okay, I guess that.
You have me there until you say critical care. It's a Joker. No one cares about Bitcoin.
But like in the comics, there are all sorts of people who deliberately do business with supervillains for stuff like hideouts. Like, there's this man in a suit with sunglasses in the Gotham City Sirens storyline who sells the Sirens their hideout. And then when he's walking away after the sale, he's on the phone with the Mad Hatter trying to pitch this place that's close to an all-girls academy. It's dark and hilarious at the same time. But, like, considering how often these criminals get captured, sent to prison, and then escape, and then have to start their operations over again, it makes a weird sort of sense.
I mean, keep reusing the same place and keep selling it to the same guys over and over.
Yeah, I know, but what about you got to pay your yearly like real estate taxes?
So there are these shady
Dude, it's
businesses.
Gotham. Who wants to live in Gotham? The real estate taxes are pretty damn low, I would bet.
So there are these shady businesses that buy up the like abandoned theme parks and stuff for the next time they get a chance to sell them to the Joker. And I like the idea because, like, as crazy as it is, it does kind of play up the notion that Gotham has become infested with supervillains to the point where there are legitimate criminal businesses, legitimate in air quotes, that cater to those supervillains because it's just lucrative enough for that to be feasible, you know?
Isn't that kind of the entire point of like the Iceberg Lounge with Penguin?
The Iceberg Lounge is more like Penguin trying to be, trying to be.
It's more so his front than anything.
Yeah, Penguin is like more of a legitimate businessman type villain now, so he's less a supervillain and more what an actual criminal would be.
I mean, Penguin,
he's always had the crime
always
boss.
just a mob boss with a little bit of a gimmick.
Yeah.
It wasn't really until the Burton movies that he got crazy. And
deranged, I would say.
And the animated movies were the animated series was based was originally pitched as sort of a tie-in for the Burton movies. So there's a lot of Burton influence in the way Penguin was portrayed there.
Well, more just on the physical appearance because his mannerisms were nothing like Danny DeVito's performance.
Actually, the early Penguin episodes, he's kind of a silly, whimsical cartoon villain. He just sort of abruptly becomes a mob boss halfway through the series.
Yeah. Well, he's a very sophisticated, like, Penguin in the early half of the animated series. And then by the new animated series, you know, they drop the Burton design and he becomes more of the mob boss that we know.
He becomes more of the Burgess Meredith character.
But, like, in the early episodes of Batman the Animated Series, he's such a kooky villain that I kind of half expect him to shout, "I hate that hedgehog" for no reason.
I mean, he's also the main villain of the worst episode of the entire DCAU. So,
which one was
Batman
it?
in My Basement.
Yeah.
What a name.
Batman in My Basement was one of the episodes that was clearly written for the younger children. They weren't entirely sure that they would be able to hook in older viewers, so they wrote some episodes that were like very specifically for young children, and Batman in My Basement was one of them. It's one of those episodes where the kids get to be the heroes. Ooh, you know, children eat that shit up.
So part of the '90s dare
At least the
movement.
marketing experts in the marketing department say children eat that shit up. I've never seen them eat it up, but they say it, so it must be true.
children with the power of Batman. Oh, this room
Nobody tell the
sucks with
children
some of the challenge.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
no one tell the children the catalyst needed to become Batman.
What is it? I forget what it is. If it's like a little poster or like
It's
some other thing for schools where it's like even Batman listens to his parents. It's like, ooh.
So the Amadeus Arkham subplot in this game, I just thought of it because the Riddler brought it up. But
Amadeus.
it's one of the weirdest little side plots in the game because it like never gets an on-screen resolution. It's just something that you can find out about as you explore, as a little reward for finding all of those tablet things. But basically, the snooty warden of the place, Quincy Sharp, is secretly insane and thinks he's the spirit of Amadeus Arkham come back to cure the criminals or something. So
is that
Just
it?
purge him.
Yeah.
yeah.
I did that quest, but it didn't click for me story-wise.
The final message you get from the final secret tablet is him like talking about him, himself.
It's not even a tablet. Like the final secret
have to
message
go-
is just a bunch of Batman scribbles inside of like
cell you'll-
the office where you save him. Yeah.
My brain perceived that as him literally going, "Hey, you solved it, Batman! Haha, that was fun."
Do it again sometime.
I
eh?
should have realized, like, oh wait, no, this is the Batman universe. People are fucking crazy.
It doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah,
It doesn't
like-
go anywhere now. It's just
like-
like it ends with the reveal, and Quincy Sharp
Yeah.
is he's a part of the story, but he just exists. He's like not taken out or anything, and like I have a feeling that they meant him to play a part in the later games when they originally wrote this, but it just never happens. So it just
Well,
Also high
the
high
Arkham
rise.
City, the Arkham City comic book tie-in does play into Quincy Sharp's weak psyche to help that Hugo Strange takes advantage of to help set up Arkham City in the first place, and in that way it has some payoff. After that, though, it's just quietly dropped. Like in the games, it doesn't mean much.
Also, need attention to detail in this game. If you come back after, I forget which story segment it is, but if you come back later, the body bag with Roz will be gone.
oh yeah,
Wow.
I was actually about
Yeah.
to mention that. It's a cool.
It's
Easter
him.
egg.
Sorry, I
Black
saw the
Mask.
black mask.
Black Mask's mask is gargantuan in this game. Like I want you to look at the size of that fucking thing.
It's 3 times the
five
size
head.
of Batman's head.
Like that's not Black Mask. That's Uka Uka, dude. Like
No, it's
thing
the
is
mask
fucking
from the
huge.
mask.
Oh my god!
oh right.
You put it on and you become a green psychopath.
There was a Batman mask crossover.
There probably was. Yeah, I wouldn't.
No, there was. The mask fucking goes on the
But-
Joker. And
Oh, but is it the mask from the movies or is it the mask from the comics?
it's the movie
Oh,
mask.
okay.
Yeah, it's not comic book mask. Although the mask being on the Joker might as well be comic book mask. So let's
Yeah,
be
I mean,
real. Yeah,
comic book mask was really crazy.
yeah.
They actually tried to do sequel movies where the mask was more like the comic books, but it didn't work.
How? Well, what movies? Because the only movies I knew were a sequel to The Mask was The Son of Mask, which nobody liked. And that was
It's
it.
also
I think.
it would also be really hard to do a live action mask without Jim Carrey. Just
Well,
considering his face is so expressive naturally.
The thing about like that would be why like the masks from the sequels were all like CGI.
Yeah.
But like
But they would also. They were nothing like the comic book type, from what I understand. They just ranked up the Looney Tunes big time, without any
Yeah.
of the layering of the
the
original movie.
thing about comic book mask is like it's a little like an even more extreme example of the Ninja Turtles, where the comic book is really adult, and
Yeah, very dark.
trying to adapt that to something more family friendly is not going to work. Actually, an even
Yeah.
better comparison would be Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Actually, if you am I the only one who's read that book?
I didn't know it was a book.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Like the book?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit was originally a novel. It's a case of the movie
Oh,
being
okay.
different, but different in a way that the author actually ended up liking better. So, like, he wrote a couple sequel novels that take place in continuity with the movie instead, or at least in the
Oh, okay.
movie's tone. But the
Interesting.
original
No.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a noir story, and it goes to some pretty dark places with Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit himself, and there's this whole like metaphysical thing involving the tunes, and the tune stuff is like even more deliberately a racism allegory. But like the tunes only talk through word bubbles. And the word bubbles are physical manifestations within the word. It's interesting shit. I recommend reading the book, if only because it's such a trippy step in the history of that movie. But like, I can't complain about the direction that the actual movie ended up going either.
Yeah, because that will require reading, and nobody likes to read. So
Well,
Me
it's also
too.
it's a fairly short novel. It's not like I'm asking you to read Tolkien or anything. So, like, if you get a chance to pick up the ebook, by all means, do so.
you said Tolkien. I didn't immediately think Lord of the Rings. I thought you meant like Tolkien's Spirit Guide or some other shit. I was like, what the fuck are you
What?
on? Yeah, that's exactly what my thought process was. I'm not letting you process that.
I've never even heard of that. Okay.
And the guards around the corner did not hear that.
I like how you can just blow the thing up in your own face and it won't hurt you.
It's a silenced explosive.
Yeah, made of rubber.
Rubber explosive.
Rubber explosions.
Heard of plastic
Honest.
explosives? Now get ready for rubber. Yeah, smack him.
Smack him on the back of the head, all three Stooges, like, smack.
You know those videos of that guy throwing or shooting Nerf darts onto a dude's bald head? I don't know where I was going with that.
I was more distracted with Ryan, like, attempting to shoot the ventilation cover off, but then he does a roll and then he just gives up.
No, I'm getting it now. I was looking for the penguin. I was looking for the. I was looking for.
That was a really
I
weird
was looking
thing.
for the penguin.
It's like, oh damn it, my bat line broke, Alfred. I don't have
I can't do it unless I'm styling.
I gotta find the bat ladder.
One of the a bat ladder. Adam West would have a bat ladder.
Is this a 100% run you're doing?
No, I get what I know is there just for EXP purposes, so I can get more upgrades and things. But no, this isn't a 100% run.
I understand.
The only thing you're really missing out is the Riddler getting doxxed.
Man, I was so disappointed with Riddler and actually most of the Arkham games.
I like the idea of Batman just like figuring out his location through networking, just by keeping him occupied, because it's the kind of like underhanded tactic that animated series Batman would use to catch the Riddler.
That's literally the Zaz quest.
Like in this game, he literally just like he responds L+ ratio and sends a fucking SWAT team to his apartment.
I mean, I like him the best in City, where he's kind of like, he's like sort of Jigsaw-y,
Yeah,
but not like overly gore-filled one.
a G-rated Jigsaw.
I wouldn't say
Maybe
G,
PG.
more like I would say more like T-rated Jigsaw.
Yeah, T-Ray Jigsaw is probably the best thing because he does set up a lot of very creative death traps for his hostages, and especially in Arkham City.
I like making him walk around with the bomb, though.
Yeah, and then getting in front of him, making him shit his pants.
I
think-
love how this game is aware that you can play it multiple times, because like I skip a certain part because I know where the answer is, and Joker's, oh poo, you're skipping to the good part.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's like one of the only times the game will deliberately make mention of it.
Huh.
I kind of wish that there was more to it than that too.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like imagine if like you try to go to his hideout like first thing. I was like, how'd you know I was here?
Whoa, I don't remember this part at all.
You know, like,
We're looking for.
well, we
No,
have to stop.
this
We have to
is the
stop the
sec-
bomb first, and then we go.
We had to stop the bomb from going up, but the reason why we're in the library, well, here in the first place, because we're looking for like Dr. Young's Titan formula.
That's right, yeah. My brain was like, okay, we're about to fight Penguin, right? Oh, wait, wrong game.
Penguin's
Right.
not in this game.
Yeah.
one of the things I do like about the Joker in Arkham Asylum 1 is that he still has his zany gadgets from time to time, like the punching glove in the box. That's the kind of thing that the Joker has moved away from over time as they leaned into, oh wow, shock, horror, the Joker's face is missing, and other such, grimdark shenanigans.
You know, Steve Bloom, security guard. This is like the third time I've rescued you in the matter of an hour. I think you just might be incompetent.
Well, I stopped being an orderly earlier. So.
Don't even get me started on recognizable voices coming out of multiple NPCs, because like I've played Oblivion. There are so many Raziels in that game. Everyone is fucking voiced by Michael Bell. It's like
Arkham is actually a front for a cloning facility. Exclusively for Steve Blooms.